still. The weapon is peace, the word is.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And if you like the news I'm giving you, then maybe give this channel a like, share, and subscribe. And more importantly, go ahead and click that notification bell, because my little resolution for 2022 was to understand YouTube analytics a bit better. And the amount of subscribers that don't get notifications about these videos that I make, shocking, quite frankly, shouldn't be allowed. So tap that notification bell. It's not just a random stupid thing that YouTubers say. It actually means something. Who knew? Well, probably everyone except me. I'm always late to the party with news, except for action figure news. So let's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Let's talk about it. Coming in first, McFarlane DC have been busy little beavers. They've really been working hard to give us a lot of action figures, not just from the DC comic books, but from video games and movies and all points in between. They are just going ham on DC, which basically means a lot of Batman figures, and that's something that I don't think they're going to slow down with. First of all, from the Batman, oh my goodness, we got an unmasked Batman, like vagrant on the road on his motorbike type Bruce Wayne, and boy, somewhere Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four Retro Wave is like, whew, glad the heat's off me, because this might be one of the worst looking face sculpt reveals that we've had. And I know it's only one picture, so I appreciate that things might look better in hand, but from what I've heard from like little rumors and little scuttlebutt, McFarlane might have already gone back to the well with this one and gone, okay, folks didn't like that picture. Let's see if we can tweak this a bit, because yeah, it looks ridiculous. I mean, look at the size of like the head with the body. First of all, it looks like a very small head. Again, it could just be the angle of the picture, but also like with the sort of sideways look going on, and then the eyeshadow. It looks really derpy. This might be a strong contender for worst head sculpt of the year already. And we're only a couple of days into January. What delights does the toy industry have for us going forward? We're off to a good start. But the main thing that actually is exciting about this figure is that he comes with a motorbike. And that kind of got my sort of creative juices flowing. I'm like, ooh, a realistic looking bike? Because I think this isn't like a bat cycle or anything. This is just a motorbike. So for diorama type pieces, that could be kind of cool. So even though this initial reveal is a bit dodgy looking, this could be a figure that's worth watching. But not content with just Bruce Wayne, McFarlane are going back to the comics, and they are giving us a super deluxe Clayface. And this looks really cool. And annoyingly, I can kind of hear the siren song of DC Multiverse calling to me, because it's like, okay, Dave, we know that you weren't too on board with regular comic stuff, but Batman, come on. The Batman, like, arch villains kind of gallery, rogues gallery of villains, that's something I'd be very tempted with. If we could get, like, iconic McFarlane versions of all the classic villains, especially in this slightly animated kind of style. Like, stop me if I'm wrong, but this Clayface looks very much like Batman the Animated Series Clayface, with a bit of a gritty comic book kind of twist to it. I think he looks super awesome, enough to make me go, things that make you go, because this is being stacked up next to the Arkham Asylum Joker. They've got some pictures of those two next to each other. And I've got to say, the Arkham Asylum Joker, I'm not that taken by him. I think just from looking at those pics, I feel like the paint job looks a little bit just sort of splattered on. He doesn't look that nice, to be honest. Just what I'm saying, just what I'm thinking. But Clayface looks really awesome, and he has one of the darkest stories from the animated series as well. I know that in the comics there's like 8 or 9 different Clayfaces. There's been loads of people who have been Clayface, from what I understand. I mean, stop me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you will. But still, when I used to watch Batman the Animated Series as a kid, like, it genuinely creeped me out, because they did not shy on giving the characters some horrific backstories, Clayface being one of them. But if this is the start of more Rogues Gallery Batman villains coming out from McFarlane throughout 22, like Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Riddler, I will watch this very closely. Just going over to statues, because why not? Diamond Select are giving us some fun pieces. We are getting a rhino statue, so not even a bust, full body rhino statue. And I am not like overly fond of this design. He looks a little bit too sleek for me. A little bit too sleek and slick, big and hefty, but like, if you try to grab onto him, he looks like a seal. Like he's too smooth. You just go like slip through your hands. I think Rhino should have more of a hide kind of texture on him. This suit actually looks a lot like the animated version, so maybe that's what they were going for. So with that being the case, they definitely nailed it. But for my kind of taste of what I like for a Rhino, yeah, I like more of a rugged, hide, rough kind of Rhino. Then we have a G.I. Joe Destro, and I'm not like a huge G.I. Joe fan, but I do love a lot of their designs. I think one of the reasons G.I. Joe has stood the test of time for so long, for so well, that's not even a sentence, but is because the characters look so iconic, and Destro is a really cool design. Just big silver head and then kind of like the combat military body. Like that's all you need. He's not over designed, therefore stands a test of time. And this figure, it looks kind of cool. Again, I'm not a big Destro guy, but if you're a big G.I. Joe person, you like your statues, this could easily be a good one to go for. Then they're going more to Marvel, so more my wheelhouse with a couple of nice looking busts. There is a Deadpool bust, which I like what they've done with the kind of the texture on the suit. It's not something you normally see on Deadpool, the way that they've done it. I mean, we see his suit textured all the time, got that kind of Kevlar bulletproof sort of look. But here it looks like he's been sat in his room with Blind Alfred and they've been playing with different fabrics and like, oh, this is a nice one. It's a slightly different looking Deadpool and I kind of dig that. And then we have Miles Morales, and this looks like a basic kind of bust, but still kind of nice. If you want a Miles Morales fix, this one will do you proud. Got a little crackle underneath there. Again, nice texture on the costume, but it's the Spider-Man costume head, so it's not particularly exciting, I don't think. But still, there's a lot of Miles fans out there, so I'm sure this will sell well. Going back to McFarlane, they've announced the listings, so no images, but at least the listings for their Blackest Night Build-A-Figure wave, and there's some cool sounding figures in here, but nothing overly confirmed as far as designs or Build-A-Figure, but let's just have a look at what they're listing. So first of all, there is a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. Rayner? Kyle Rayner, that sounds better. Then we have Batman, because it's a McFarlane DC wave. Of course you gotta have a Batman in there. Then backing up Batman, we have Superman, so there's going to be a Superman who looks however he appears in Blackest Night. I haven't read the story, I couldn't tell ya. Then Deathstorm as well. And for me, I'm sorry, I'm showing my DC ignorance there. I don't know who Deathstorm is. It's a cool name though, it sounds very 90s. Was he developed in the 90s? I'm gonna look that up. It's a very 90s sounding name. Deathstorm. Deathstorm coming from Image Comics by Rob Liefeld. And finally, they haven't announced the Build-A-Figure, but there's a little rumbling, a little bit of scuttlebutt, that it's going to be Atrocious, which actually I think is a really cool name. Not enough people use the word atrocious. If you're ever having a bad day, don't say you've had a bad day. Say you've had an atrocious day. People will go, ooh, Akira with big atrocious words. Seriously, it's a good word. And with Black Adam finally coming out around about summertime of this year, we have had some figures announced as well. Again, no pictures, but a few names. So I'm going to start Googling some people so I can see what they look like. And I'm going to read off who they've listed. So first of all, of course, there is going to be a Black Adam in his ancient costume. Then they're going to be releasing Black Adam in the hero costume, because of course you know he's a villain, but come on, he's going to be a hero by the end of this thing. Then there is Atom Smasher, who sounds kind of cool, but then more excitingly, we get Atom Smasher Megafig. So I'm guessing that's going to be a big chunky boy. Then we've got Dr. Fate, who is Pierce Brosnan in this movie, I think. Then also Cyclone. Then the penultimate figure we have is a Hawkman. And finally we get a Sabak Megafig. Man, I've got to educate myself more on DC just so that I can get more hype about these various announcements and I'm not just rattling off a bunch of names I don't recognize. That might be another resolution for 2022 to add to my other resolutions for 2022. Educate myself more on stuff outside of Spider-Man comics. Spawn turns 30 in 2022, which is kind of crazy because if that's the case, that means that I must be 40. Oh gosh. But still, we're going to get some good figures out of it, hopefully. The first one being teased is one from McFarlane that I've been kind of wanting, but not quite. It is a repaint, essentially, of the Mortal Kombat Spawn, but in classic comic book colors, and also probably coming with like a church spire that you can hold onto and look all majestic and kind of, enigmatic like gothic superheroes did in the 90s, and probably still today. And he's not an exact repaint of the Mortal Kombat one. He's got like a different kind of chalice neck cape type thing, you know what I'm trying to say. So it is different in some regards. Unfortunately for me, it's not quite the Spawn that I want, because I want the super classic one with the red going on his body there. That just makes him a bit more brighter and a bit more dynamic looking. I'm still gutted that I didn't get the Spawn Kickstarter. I didn't even know about it until it was too late. So I was always wanting that one. And then when I saw McFarlane were doing this one, I was like, oh, it's perfect, not quite perfect. So maybe we'll get another version with the red. In the meantime, though, with the brighter, more bold comic book colors, this Spawn does look kind of cool. This next one is coming out around about the middle of 2023, probably just to give us a chance to start saving. Hot Toys! They must have sat around in an executive marketing meeting and gone like, what can we make a hot toy of? I mean, we've run out of things. I think we have run out of things. We've literally made a hot toy of everything. Oh, shall we just do Iron Man again then? Yes, they are doing another Iron Man, based on his Iron Man 2 armor, I think it is. But it comes in 2 different flavors this time. One if you want to spend a lot of money, and the other one if you want to spend a lot of money. But they both look very, very cool, I gotta say. The main one being the one with the gantry, the actual machinery that puts on the Iron Man armor. Remember when Iron Man used to need a machine to put his armor on for him? That was so ghetto. But yes, it was a thing back in the good old days. Well, I say the good old days. Marvel movies only got better. What a time to be alive. But still, these both look super beautiful. It's Hot Toys, so I'm not going to repeat myself every time I do a Hot Toys example. You know, it's like, yeah, it's going to look beautiful. It's going to be expensive, but you're going to get your money's worth. And with these, yeah, it's a lot of money, so they're going to look kind of cool. Higher Toys are giving us some Godzilla and King Kong statues, smaller than some of the big crazy ones that we've seen, so a bit more affordable as well. And I loved the designs of Godzilla vs. King Kong. I wasn't like a huge fan of the movie, I didn't hate it, but it just felt like a bit kind of throwaway, which in fairness, I mean, it's Godzilla vs. King Kong, you know, it's not Shakespeare, I appreciate that. And I felt like they did do a good job of pitching the two monsters against each other and kind of making it work, like in the sea environment and on land, and I kind of actually give them credit for having a definite winner as well, because it does make sense. I mean, it's Godzilla, you know? When the movie came out, there was a wonderful meme I saw, which is that classic picture of the silverback gorilla kind of like talking to people, and the caption just said, look guys, I'm gonna do my best, but it's a radioactive fire-breathing dinosaur, so, you know, give me a break. And I thought that kind of summed up Godzilla vs. King Kong pretty accurately. But still, these statues look super pretty. So if you want to immortalize the biggest slugfest of 2021, then you can do around about June when they release. The Star Wars Black Series are going back into the archive to bring you the Boba Fett prototype armor. I think this was a Walgreens exclusive back in like 2014, so in the long ago. Gosh, remember 2014? That's what I definitely call the good old days. But brighter ones are ahead. And in the meantime, we're going to have the Boba Fett prototype armor to tide us over. And yeah, I mean, it looks super pretty. I mean, this is like going back to literally like the sketches of what Boba Fett might look like before someone went, I don't know, maybe color might help. But still, if you want like your more unusual variants of the Mandalorian, this could be a fun one. One of my favorite wacky Ninja Turtles characters is Mutagen Man. I first saw the original, like, little toy from the 80s in a thrift shop, and I was like, that is so bonkers, a bunch of organs floating around in this jar. That looks wicked. So I was so happy to see them do new versions, and Super 7 are now shipping, because this was announced a while ago. I just wanted to talk about it because it's cool. They're shipping their Super 7 Mutagen Man, who glows in the dark, people. Come on! So yeah, I don't collect the Super 7s, but I wanted to just highlight it because it's a weird, awesome, crazy, wacky design. And the fact it glows in the dark, did you know that Marvel Legends Radioactive Man has a little glow in the dark piece as well? Didn't know that for the longest time. Glow in the dark's awesome. You're never too old to appreciate a cool toy that glows in the dark. McFarlane really should be sponsoring this show, considering how many mentions they're getting, because we are going back to them with some Batman Beyond figures, which are kind of re-releases, but also worthy of a mention. These are variants of previously released figures, but they do look kind of cool, and I like to showcase kind of cool stuff, even if they have names I can't pronounce, like InQ? Is that her name? InQ, or their name, sorry, or his name, I don't know. in queue as Batman Beyond. So that was previously a Target exclusive, and now it's being re-released to the wider market, I do believe. And then also there is an unmasked Batwoman, and that's kind of cool. Like, if I actually look at the head sculpt, I think like that's a really good looking head sculpt. They kind of nailed that there. And also they have a meltdown version of Blight. And Blight is a character I was tempted to get for my kind of cosmic weird characters sort of shelf, because I think as a design, I don't know anything about the character, but I think he just looks really, really cool. We also have some in-hand images of the Frost King Endless Winter. Endless Winter. No, I'm not going to start doing Wham again. But we have some photos of them in hand, and they look kind of cool, so let's take a look at them. Of course, all of these figures are in their sort of variant winter kind of gear, which is sort of fun. So we've got Wonder Woman all wrapped up tight in her nice armor there. Then we've got Batman with the goggles and the kind of furry duster coat, very cool. Black Adam looks like Black Adam, basically. From what I know, that seems like a very basic version of the character, which is actually great to get sometimes. It's like, yes, we just want the basic character. Boom, there you go. Similarly with Green Lantern there as well. Again, nice looking sculpt. And then the Frost King, he looks big. They've done another good job with another big chunky bat. That's what we want, that's what we love, that's where we get value for our money. So this entire wave, it looks pretty cool. There I was, just about to go back to work when I suddenly realized, the Thunder Tank! How can I go about my life knowing that I haven't informed the world about news that they've probably already heard? The Thunder Tank, the Super 7 Thundercats gigantic Thunder Tank, which was announced a long time ago, and now we're getting just some more in-hand pictures of the prototype and how it's coming together, and I just wanted to share it because I'm a child of the 80s and I grew up loving the Thundercats, and this is a scale Super 7 Thunder Tank, which just looks bonkers. I love that we live in this era where the kids of the 80s are now adults with disposable income, and we can just invest money in these stupid things that bring happiness and joy. And just look at the Panthro that comes with it. Panthro was always my favorite, by the way. Maybe Tigra. Either way, it wasn't Lion-O. I hate the guy whose superpower is to be the best at everything. That really sucked. There was an episode where Lion-O had to prove that he deserved to lead the Thundercats, so he had to beat each Thundercat at the thing that they did best. And it's like, well, that just sucks. It's like, no, Chitara should be the fastest. Panthro should be the strongest. Tigra should be the best whatever he does. But that's a rant for another time, maybe. But the Thunder Tank looks super cool. I just wanted to share the pictures with you. And the other bit of forgotten news that, oh my goodness, how irresponsible would I have been to have not told you, that Storm Collectibles have shown pictures of their prototype, I'm not sure if it's the prototype or just the first reveal, of their Virtua Fighter Akira figure. I think this is from Virtua Fighter 5, I'll double check on that. But still, I got a lot of nostalgia for Virtua Fighter. That was like the first big 3D arcade fighting game. When Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat were tearing it up, all of a sudden Virtua Fighter comes along and it's like, wow, this is like ugly as hell, but also mind-blowingly incredible. It was so weird, the first Virtua Fighter, like, they're literally made out of squares. Like, they don't look good. But at the same time, the three-dimensionalness, your brain just goes like, that isn't how things used to be, and now they are, and we are living in a post-Virtua Fighter world now. So having these characters immortalized, even in their more modern forms, is still super cool. Storm Collectibles have kind of, like, established themselves as, like, we are the video game guys. And generally, minus a few Mortal Kombat faces, they do an excellent job of it. So I'm very excited to see more pictures from the, what am I talking about? Akira! Virtua Fighter 5. Oh, you ever get that when your brain just like frazzles for a second? Yeah, all my life. And folks, that does it for good news for today. It was a little quick one, I think, but I enjoyed going over some random little releases, reveals, and whatever you classify the other stuff that I talk about. I don't know. Often I think this whole video is just a stream of consciousness, but hopefully it's mildly entertaining on occasion every now and then. So guys, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to smash that notification bell. I've got to train myself to say it. And if you want to go one step further in supporting the channel, you can do either by going over to teespring.com. I kind of stumbled over my words there, but I'm not going to redo this because I'm running out of time. I'm on my lunch break. I've got to go back to work after this. But in the meantime, pick yourself up a t-shirt, or you can go over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior and throw a few shekels my way. See some bonus content on there. But in the meantime, guys, thanks very much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cheers.